Now, as Camila pointed out here, that the reaction of the government in Chile was one in which they tried to repress the movement, the student movement. It was a peaceful protest, but then, of course, it turned dangerous and violent. Now, this is something we're witnessing all across the world when we're seeing global protests emerge and erupt. Do you think that this tactic just emboldens the protesters even more when authoritarian governments try to suppress them?
Yes, repression often backfires, and the more that they use violence against protesters, all that does is it creates more sympathy with the protesters, more media attention, and they find that there are more people willing to join their cause or aid them in some way. It often takes an extreme amount of repression to stop a powerful protest movement.
Right. So now in all of this, you're talking about how this will just give more momentum to the protesters. Give us a sense of how you're witnessing the global climate of young people coming out on the streets. What do you think would make a protest successful and their demands to be taken seriously?
Yeah, we're seeing diffusion of protest around the world. And as far as what leads to a successful protest, well, smart tactics help. There's a lot of evidence that remaining nonviolent helps, but there are ways to find tactics that are nonviolent and yet are somewhat out of the ordinary. Things like, I found in my own research, occupations, hunger strikes, other types of labor strikes. They provide a little more pressure, yet they are non-violent, and so they win more sympathy for the protesters, especially if there's any repression used against them.
Right.